Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Breeze Life Interactive session for week 5. And yeah, I'm happy we are in week 5 already. Like, I'm really excited. I don't know how I feel about this, but I am excited. Welcome to week 5. So, this week it's opportunities in climate smart agriculture adoption. So, I don't know if you want to do this with me, but for week 1, we did climate change and your agribusiness. Week 2, we did mitigation and adaptation strategies for production, both crop production and livestock production. Then for week 3, we did that of processing and packaging. For week 4, we did distribution and logistics. This week, we are doing opportunities in climate smart agriculture adoption. For all of you that have been talking about climate financing, that have been talking about how to access the carbon market, all of these other things that you've been talking about as it regards the opportunities available in climate smart agriculture. Sit tight. Today, you're going to be getting a whole lot from the very wonderful facilitator we brought today. Like you'll be glad you actually joined this session. So before we continue, let's quickly establish the agenda. Okay, before agenda, if you are a French speaker, please click on the interpretation button at the top right corner of your screen, and then you will see English, French, and original audio. Please click on French. If you click on French, you'll be listening in French, and then you'll also be hearing me, but you have to click on mute original audio to be able to hear only French. So it is clear to you. Thank you so much. So today we have introduction, we have about AFC and then the membership drive. So for those of you that have not joined the AFC membership community yet, we're going to be doing membership drive, and it is important. It is very, very important. Just as important as the Brace, more important than the Brace program is the membership community. You really have to join the AFC membership community to be able to access all of the goodies in AFC. So after that, we'll have the participant sharing session. That's where we get to know whether you really followed the modules in the portal, and then we go straight to the speaker's presentation. Today we have Mr. Charles Waweru that will be taking us through climate smart opportunities in climate smart agricultural adoption. After that, we'll unveil our top scholars for week 4, and then we'll have the portal walkthrough and then the closing. So quickly, like we always do, this is when you tell us your name, your country, and your agribusiness. This is the opportunity you have to connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs that are on this call with you. So let's go this way. My name is Patience Brimo. I am from Nigeria, living in Nigeria, and I work with African Food Chain Makers as a program officer. So quickly, let also take it further by telling us how you feel. So I really feel nervous. I know. I feel excited and nervous at the same time. We're wrapping up so quickly, and I'm really excited about it. Just imagine all of the weeks from the first week, and then this is the 5th week, and yeah, I'm excited. So let us see with an emoji how you feel about this week and even the program entirely. How do you feel about the Brace program? Has it added value to you? Has it changed some of the practices you do in your business? What has it been like for you? I would really like to know. Maybe one of these days, maybe the last LIS will give opportunities for some people to tell us what has changed in their business, and then if Brace has impacted their businesses at all. So quickly about African food change makers. We believe that small and medium-sized enterprises like you are the lifeblood of the food ecosystem in Africa. These enterprises are driven by visionary, dynamic, and innovative entrepreneurs who operate as primary producers, aggregators, processors, distributors, finance and technology providers, chefs, cooks, consultants, and innovators. We call them change makers. So it is good to tell you that you are a change maker, because we understand that most of you fit into this description I have just made. So these change makers are faced with the devastating impact of climate change, global and local risk and shocks, macro and microeconomic challenges. These entrepreneurs need funding, they need training, visibility, market linkages, and a community of support to successfully scale their businesses. So through the African Food Changemakers Hub, we enable African entrepreneurs to start and scale resilient and sustainable agribusinesses that nourish Africa and the world at large. So how we do what we do is by community. Like, that's why we've been telling you to join the community, the AFC community, because that's actually one of the channels through which we reach out to you as a change maker. Then the other way is data and opportunities. If you get into the community, you will see that we provide we share lots of data, lots of opportunities for you to be able to make your business better off. And also we have the visibility and then the recognition. So through some of our programs and then through spotlighting, we'll try to recognize and give visibility to most of our participants as well as our members. And then the last is the learnings and the trainings. An example of learnings and trainings is the Brace program. So quickly, let us get into the membership drive. If you have still not thought of being a member, this is the time to do it, because we have just 1 week to go. After 1 week, you won't be hearing membership drive anymore, and then you will regret, like, oh, I don't know what to do. How can I join the membership community? That time you will not have the membership team to tell you again how to join it. Now that you are having them, and now that they are willing and they are readily available to take you through how the membership community works, please take action now. Tomorrow may just be very late. So to take us on the membership drive, I'll call on one of the membership team member, Sylvester Barrow, to take us through the membership drive. Thank you so much. Hi, Sylvester. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you, Anna. Sorry, Precious. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Very warm welcome to everyone on this virtual session today. And just as you have heard Patience say, you just have a few weeks or days to be hearing membership drive. And so for the membership drive, for those of you who don't know, the membership drive is a session where we bring in new community members. We tell you the benefits that we have for you as a community member, what you stand to benefit, and lots more. So for those community, you can indicate by dropping it, I am a change maker in the chat box. And for those who are not yet part of the community as well, you can also drop, I want to join the community, and we'll follow up on you on how to become a member of our community. So very quickly, amongst the many benefits we have for our community members or our potential community members, here are a few that you stand to benefit when you join the African Food Change Makers communities. So the first here is we give you access and strengthen and scale your agribusiness. We prepare your business to enter the new African and global markets. We give you referrals to funding, speaking, and exhibition opportunities. And just like we said, we have a community, and this community is full of vibrant members from across Africa, 49 African countries, and over 8,000 community members in all these countries. So when you join the community, you stand a chance to learn and to benefit and to grow with such vibrant community members from across the world. And we also give you access to global market linkages, and we enhance the visibility and promote media engagement of selected agribusinesses. And we do this via our social media platforms, our WhatsApp, our social Instagram, and Facebook, and the rest. And we just pick, time to time, we pick just one or two businesses and we spotlight them on our social media platforms. And you also have access to exclusive networking events. And we also give you access to the resources hub, and the marketplace. And the resource hub is a place where we gather insights for you from events to funding opportunities to data to trainings and all of that. And then the marketplace, as the name implies, the marketplace is where you come to buy and sell your goods and your services. So if you join the community, you stand a chance to have a presence on our marketplace where you can sell your goods or your services to many people across Africa. Next slide, please. Okay, all right. So for those of you dropping in the chat box, I can see you all, and I saw Samita, who said she wants to join the community. We'll drop the link very quickly, or you could also just pay attention to this slide that I'm about to speak to, and you can join the community as I go on. So firstly, to join the community, you have to pick up your phone or your tablet or your laptop that you have internet access to. You type in the web address on your browser, www.afchub.org, or you could also follow the link that will be dropped in the chat box shortly. And once that page has loaded, you click on join the community icon, which is at the middle page of the home page. Once you click on the join the community, you get a drop down of questions that you would answer. And these questions are to be answered correctly, as this would enable us to know the kind of opportunities we'll be sending down to you. And once you're done answering these questions, make sure you click on the submit button at the bottom right, the bottom right of the page. Once you click submit, then you are going to get a verification or onboarding email that will be sent to you that yes, you have successfully joined or registered to be part of the community, but your verification takes 24 to 48 hours. That is, we on the side, the AFC team, would have to review what your registration and all that. And once that has been reviewed and is approved, you would also get a confirmation email. And once that confirmation email is sent to you, you can still navigate back to the afchub.org and click on login, which is usually located at the top right of the page. Once you click on login, you can now log in with your email address and the password of your choice that you imputed at the beginning of the registration. And once that is done, you can now access your dashboard and the many opportunities that we have for you. Now, before you can become a part of our community, or before you can become a community member, you have to have these three criteria. You have to pass these three criteria before you can join. First, you have to own or work as a top management for an agribusiness. Secondly, the agribusiness that you work for or you own must be in existence for at least 6 months. And lastly, you have to have a social media presence. So the social media presence enables us to see the works you have been doing in the agri space or the agri sector. And once you tick all these three boxes, you are fit to join the community, the AFC community. So I would be looking forward to welcoming as many of you that can join the community during or before the end of this session, but make sure you pay attention to the speakers who will be coming, so you will not miss out on this, and then you can join at the end of the program. And then this is the marketplace, and we have a few opportunities that will be ending soon. You can go to the page, to the home page, and then navigate on opportunities to view many other opportunities that we have in store for you. So thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you. Over to you, Patience.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sylvester. So if you are not yet a member, what are you waiting for? Click on the link that is in the comment section and become a member. It's actually very important that you all become members, because if you're not a member, you will not be able to access all of the plenty opportunities, all of the things that we've been talking about since. You won't be able to access them. It's just Brace program you'll be able to access, and Brace program is just one out of the many programs and many benefits that AFC offers. So really, it's very good that you click on that link and become a member. So this is the part I like most. This is the part where we get to understand if anybody actually look through the portal. If they did the module, this is where we get to catch you all. All right, so if you have a key takeaway that you want to share with us from module 5, this is your opportunity to do it. So please raise your hand and then I'll ask you to unmute and share your key takeaway with us. So if there's anything that you have learned from the opportunities in climate smart agriculture adoption, just as it was it is in the portal, please raise your hand and we'll ask you to unmute and share with us. You know, it is very good to share with people. Okay, I already have one and okay, I have one hand. Is there any other hand? Don't let us start and then you will now come and bring your hand. I'll not call you again. Okay. It's even better that you're all bringing your hands now, because if after now you raise your hand, I won't call you. Okay, so I have 3 hands. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. So we'll start with Joseph David. So Joseph David, I'm asking you to unmute and speak. Hi, Joseph. Please unmute and speak. Okay, look like Joseph is not available. Precious. Okay, let's go to Precious. Precious, I'm asking you to unmute and speak. Hi, Precious, please unmute. Oh, this is not me.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Okay, hello. Yes, I can hear you. Even David. Okay, please, Precious, hold on. Let's hear from David and then I'll ask you again. Thank you.
Okay.
Joseph, David, please go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yes, from Module 5, my key takeaway from Module 5 is not so much, just very brief, is that the module is actually transformative and potential of climate smart financial opportunities. I understand that I learned from there about understanding carbon market innovations, the criteria for carbon credits, and the roles of offset organizations. And the criteria were actually what blew me. The things you have to put in place, 5 of them were stated there. And we're told about 2 organizations that function in Africa as regards offsetting carbon, offsetting carbon and then locking them in the soil. I also realized that the pathway is necessary for every agribusiness to align with if they will be sustainable and then most importantly profitable, because it gives us access to other source of revenue other than production or whatever part of the value chain you belong to. And the knowledge actually empowers me for more than mitigation strategies on climate change, and also open my eyes to see that I could make more than I am making at the moment if I am able to position myself well enough to utilize the whole strategy and technologies involved in carbon financing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I like when you said this model gives help you to understand that you can gain much more than just mitigation and that adaptation strategies, and then it can even help you gain more finance. Like, that's really encouraging. Thank you so much. And Precious, please, you can go ahead now.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Yes, I can hear you, Precious.
All right. First, I'd like to thank the organizers of this program. And this is where my input comes in, what I learned from this week's module. Well, I have like 2 sides to it. While all of this looks promising, because I really took my time to read and check all the video that was the link that was added. There was like a meeting. So I watched the video and I saw that while we are very much excited about the opportunity in climate smart agriculture, adoption, we should not get carried away with it. In the fact that this is we still have a very, very long way to go. The environment that how will I put it? Please borrow me a word. Like the enabling environment is not still like very there for us, particularly on this side of the world, and for businesses, particularly for small businesses that are still growing. I think the best thing I took out of this was to, align with the adaptation, the mitigation, and try to increase productivity while keeping all these notes in mind to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and to also sequester carbon. Then I also watched this video about, I don't know if it's this one, about the switchblade, the grass, I think a switchblade grass or something. I watched it and how they were using it to, sequester carbon, and how a company in the US was using it to, produce heat for their boiler or something. That technology is like it's way, way, way far into the future. But like I said, my key takeaway was to look into my processes, look for what I can manage, look for what I can adopt, and just keep pushing. We should just keep pushing. That's just my key takeaway. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I like how what you learned help you to, look inward and check what you are doing again. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. And next person is Gambo Garba. Please go ahead. Hi. Oh, please unmute.
Hello, can you hear me, man?
Yes, please, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Though I start by laughing. My name is somehow complicated for you to pronounce.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
No problem. Seriously, I learned a lot about Module 5 because the whole thing is just a summary of the numerous opportunities for sustainable development, which also enhance productivity and building resilience against climate change. The climate smart agriculture also play an important role in our present community, our lives, and let me just make a contradiction with the hardship people are facing seriously. If someone can practice or can go on the climate smart agriculture seriously, he will definitely earn a lot, because through the climate smart agriculture, this can increase productivity as in the community. It will also help you on the climate resilience, thereby implementing strategy to help farmers adapt climate-related strategy by reducing the vulnerability to extreme weather events. And in the summary, I also learned the use of climate smart agriculture can also improve the livelihood, thereby enhancing the productivity and the resilience, which can increase farmer income and improve food security. When it comes to like the job creation as well, the practicing climate smart agriculture can create job opportunity whereby the sustainable agriculture practices can generate employment opportunities in the rural areas. So this model, I find a lot of interest in Module 5 seriously, almost more than other different modules. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks, Garba. I hope I'm not murdering it now for sharing with us. Thank you so much. So, John Paul Olisa Emeka, I hope I didn't murder it. Sorry. Please unmute and speak to us. Hi, John Paul. Please speak. Oh, okay. If John Paul is not available, Fozia Alas. Oh, Fozia, our regular customer.
I'm here.
Okay,
Hello.
John Paul, please go ahead, John Paul.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Okay. My name is John Paul Semeka, founder and CEO of Johnson Paul Fishery and Healthy Agro Farm from Gowada, Abuja, Nigeria. Thanks for the opportunity again. Thank you, Patience, for the anchor. My takeaway simply from Module 5 is that in as much as climate change is, it has two ways. It's not a two-sided coin. The effect is actually advantage to some person in some area, while in some location is also a disadvantage to them. But now we have to now look into the advantage aspect by what imbibing in the climate smart agriculture, so we utilize the good effect of climate change. We meant to understand that climate change actually is affecting the agricultural development in fast growing and rapidly urbanizing Africans. That means those within the in African continent, those that their growth, both economic GDP is fast growing. They should also look inward that as they are enjoying the GDP, they should also know that climate change effect is standing by the side and is going to affect the people and also the output of their production. Also, we are meant to understand that climate smart agriculture has the opportunity to achieve three objectives, which is increasing productivity, enhancing resilience, and reducing carbon emission. And one good thing I love so much is say that the carbon accounting technology in agriculture are already in Africa. So that means we in African continent, it's an opportunity for us to key into it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John Paul. Thanks for sharing with us. Thank you. I like the fact that everybody's looking at, okay, as these opportunities are available, what do we do about it? Are there negatives? Are there positives? Anyways, that's why we have a facilitator today to take us through all of these things. And then lastly, I have my own Fozia. Fozia is always contributing. Like, if you had not raised your hand, I would have come to force you. All right, thank you so much, Fozia. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
All right, ma. Let me just summarize because one of the opponents have already said what I wanted to say. That's Mr. Gambo Garba. But let me just mention a few. Under opportunity in climate smart agricultural adaptation. So opportunities, there are a lot of opportunities. When we look under opportunities, we have an increase in productivity, which improve crop yield and farm efficiency. And also we have it enhances resilience. Thus, it's better adaptation to climate change and reduce vulnerability. And also we have sustainability and water management, which conserve an efficient use of resources. And also under economy, we have increase in employment, which is, increase in employment, and also we have higher income, and also we have improve in resources efficiency. And in summary, it offers a promising path to sustainable agriculture, climate resilience, and improving livelihood for farmers. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much, Fozia. Thank you. It's the way you make all your notes and come and share with us later on. It's really interesting. Thank you so much. All right, thanks everyone for sharing. Thanks for this is actually encouraging. It shows that people are going through the portal. People are actually going through the lessons in the portal, and then they are taking out something from it. It's not just going through it, and that's really encouraging. Thank you so much for every one of you that have contributed, and those of you that probably were too shy to raise your hand or something. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. So today we have our speaker. His name is Charles Waweru. He's the head of Carbon Projects Development. And Charles Waweru, the head of Carbon Projects Development at Vast Carbon, leads efforts to enhance Africa's presence in carbon markets Vast Carbon, committed to advancing Africa's role in carbon markets, focuses on leveraging climate finance to foster green jobs and community benefits through project financing, DMRV, community benefit sharing, and transparency. The company excels as a technology provider and project developer in carbon markets. Charles combined academic rigor with practical experience, holding a degree in applied mathematics and pursuing an MSc in environmental science, complemented by a PGDIP in GHG-MRV. His expertise spans environmental regulations and government relations in carbon markets, encompassing methodologies from Article 6 to CDM and Plan Vivo. His project interests range from clean cooking to renewable energy, and he actively engages in knowledge sharing and capacity building in carbon markets through grassroots and international events. Charles also drives initiatives to assist governments in formulating carbon markets activation plans, showing his dedication to advancing sustainable practices in Africa's carbon market landscape. So with some beautiful vision in the comment section, let's welcome Charles Waweru, the speaker for today. Hi, Charles. Good evening, sir.
Hello, everybody. It's my sincere pleasure to be with you here today. It's always a pleasure when I get the invitations to come and speak to the group. More importantly, I'm very happy to hear that the team has been covering aspects of carbon markets. That means my work is a little bit easier, and I really appreciate that as well. So that said, I want to start sharing my screen, and you will allow me if I go off on the video, so as we can all focus on today's session. And for that said, I'll just want to give what I had planned today. One is to quickly look at why are we talking about climate smart agriculture adoption? What are some of the opportunities? And because all of you have taken lessons on carbon markets, then a quick recap of how can you develop such a climate smart agriculture project with a carbon component to it. I'll be able to share this particular presentation to Patience, and she can be able to share with you for you to do your own follow-ups. That said, my name is Charles Waweru. One more time, I'm the director of Carbon Project at a company based here in Nairobi, Kenya. The company is called Vast Carbon. In essence, what we do is supporting companies in a number of areas. In principle, we are very keen to scale Africa, to unlock Africa's carbon market potential. And initially, we started off as a climate technology company where we felt that there are certain market gaps between developers and the buyers of carbon credits. So we began building a platform, but we then quickly realized that at the grassroots level, there isn't really much being done by the indigenous communities in Africa with respect to carbon markets. So we embarked on a very comprehensive vision and plan to do capacity building in carbon markets, such as the one that I'm here today. We've been working on with BRES and AFC for some time in just building the capacity. We have done something similar with the gold standard as well. Feel free to go to YouTube, look for us and look at the different webinars we've had. But in principle, we say that once we have built adequate capacity in the grassroots community, we want to then go ahead and develop carbon projects from an end to end. I hope you can all remember you start from the very beginning at the concept note, the feasibility, and you work all the way through till when you have now your project registered, you start your implementation, and then you go ahead and of course get your carbon credits issued. So that is some of the things we do. We have been able to do quite a number of things in the ecosystem. In the case of agriculture, we are supporting a number of entrepreneurs or communities within northern Uganda in developing what we call AFOLO. AFOLO is agriculture, forest, and other land use projects, particularly focused on agroforestry, which will be coming into hand in today. As well as that, we're also doing a number of voucher projects within northern Uganda as well, and also scaling into Tanzania across many other things. Now, for us, the first question will be, why climate smart agriculture? Now, what are we really trying to solve? Why are we saying that we need to look at agriculture in a different way? Why are we talking about the use of organic composting, for example, when it comes to undertaking agricultural practices? Now, I want to ask you to try and remember where we came from in terms of carbon markets, whereby you're saying we are trying to do something to the ecosystem to try and reverse some of the changes that have been happening in the atmosphere, of course, in the lands you're coming with. For most of you, remember that the way in which climate is within your different countries now is not the same as it was 10 years ago. Now, in the greater picture, in terms of climate change, you remember that these things, we call them greenhouse gases. And it's always alluded that these greenhouse gases tend to increase surface temperature. I'd like to use the analogy of either a sauna or, in the case of a farming community, the case of a livestock shed. When you're standing outside a livestock shed, the temperature is just normal, whatever the surrounding temperature in the ecosystem. But when you walk into the cattle shed, you will notice two things. One, you will notice, of course, there's the interesting smell, which of course is the methane coming from the livestock dung. But more importantly, you will notice that it's a bit hotter, it's a bit warmer within that shed. The reason why it's warmer is because of the methane that has the capacity of trapping heat, preventing it from escaping. That's what's always warm if you go into the livestock shed. Same principle within a sauna. You go into a sauna because you want to heat up your body. When you open the door of the sauna and you leave it open, all the steam goes out, and that's where now it's no longer as hot as it was. That is the same principle when it comes to the case of now global warming. Once upon a time, we came to a point whereby humanity was moving from the use of basic technology in agriculture. We went into industrialization, which was very, very good, very perfect. But the only difference in this case was that when we are running these industries, we're using certain sorts of fossil fuel to power industries. There's an increased emission of what you call now the greenhouse gases, because of the human activities. Over time, these greenhouse gases will always stay a little bit too long in the atmosphere, resulting in an increase in now what we now call the surface temperatures. Now, the end result is that over time, the global surface temperatures are increasing, necessitating a need for something to be done differently. It was agreed that one of the principal causes of increase in surface temperatures is the increase in the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Therefore, the scientists at the UNFCCC say we must develop projects that are either removing, reducing, or even possible, avoiding the emission of greenhouse gases. And that is the basis of climate mitigation, or if you like, now the carbon markets. And we shall now be seeing what are some of the things you can be doing within an agricultural setting that can be considered a climate mitigation project. That is a project that is designed to either avoid, reduce, or remove greenhouse gases and results in an increasing yield, be it from the farm or from the livestock that you are rearing. Now, before I proceed, it's very important for you to remember there's a very key difference between climate adaptation and climate mitigation. Carbon markets, or the climate smart agricultural practices we'll be talking about today, they're more focusing on the mitigation. We are trying to prevent something. We are trying to prevent increase in global surface temperature by undertaking projects that are reducing, removing, or avoiding those gases. Climate adaptation is where things have hit the roof. There's nothing much we can do, and that is it. We just have to find ways in which we can live it. In the case of CSA, we shall be focusing on about 7 or 8 such interventions that can be worked towards reducing greenhouse gases from atmosphere, but more importantly, for you as a farmer, increasing either your agricultural yield or your livestock yield. And at the end of today's session, I'll be able to respond to some of the questions of how you can do some of these activities. So, climate smart agriculture. As I mentioned, there are a number of interventions. We shall be looking at them. And what we shall be focusing on, more importantly, is we shall look at one of the CSA opportunity and look at an example of a carbon project that has been developed either within the continent or elsewhere where there's no opportunity. Now, remember, almost all countries within the African continent are able to develop carbon projects. I'm sure you've heard of such projects in your own country. My effort today will be not only to show you the opportunity, but more importantly also to show you an example of a carbon project being done within the ecosystem. First and foremost is biochar. I'm sure most of you have seen this black-looking sort of compound that is existing within the ecosystem. But why do we need biochar? Now, if you ask yourself, whenever you're farming and you're going towards the process of harvesting the crop yield, what is the usual scenario? Be it maize, be it sugarcane, be it rice cultivation. The obvious story, the business as usual story has always been, whenever we harvest the crops and we process it, there's always what you call the agricultural crop residues. In most cases, a typical farmer in the continent will either burn those residues or just leave it there to decompose. Now, let's look at these two scenarios. When you burn the residue, you're releasing more and more of these greenhouse gases. If you leave it there to decompose, you're also going to be resulting in the emission of methane. So what can you do as a farmer? You can engage in what you call biochar production, whereby you are taking this crop or this agricultural crop residues from the harvesting. It could be rice husks, for example. It could be the sugarcane bagasse. It could be the maize stalkovers. And then you are slowly burning it in a low oxygen environment, but with a high temperature, resulting in getting something that is black in color. What you have done is you have been able to remove all the elements and leaving the carbon and storing the carbon within that biochar. Then what do? You take the biochar, mix it with some bit of organic matter to do what you call activating the biochar. Then you mix your biochar with the soil. What is likely going to happen is, number one, you're going to make your soil more porous, therefore humus is going to be growing. You're going to make your soil have the ability to retain water longer. Therefore, when there's a period of prolonged drought, you'll always be making sure your soil has got more of this. Number three, you're going to be creating the right conducive environment for the humus to be thriving there. And whenever you're adding more of this organic compost, it's going to be retained longer. Now, it has been found that in most cases, crops grown with the activated biochar have been known to increase their yield, be it maize, beans, rice, and more importantly, you're not only increasing your crop yield, but because you are preventing the emission of greenhouse gases from what will ordinarily be a consequence of burning agricultural farm waste, you're able to reduce greenhouse gas, and therefore you can do it as a carbon project. Now, you can go high-tech, use complicated machines, or you can go low-tech, use very simple technologies. The project you're seeing on your screen, for example, is a project being done in India where 5,000 farmers were trained on biochar production by simply digging what you call earth mounds. That is, you're simply digging a hole into the ground, putting agricultural waste, and burning it within a controlled temperature and, of course, oxygen environment, and then taking the biochar, activating it, and putting it back to the same farm. Circular economy. The biochar is coming from the same waste that was coming from the field, and the biochar is going back to the same field that's going to be generating more maize, more rice, and more other crops for the farmer. In this case, nothing is going to waste in a farm. A good farmer will always tell you nothing should ever go to waste. But more importantly, you're not only increasing your crop yield, but you're also fighting climate change. And for that, you can also be entitled to carbon credits. I hope that point is very clear. Happy to respond to any question please put them in the chat. Otherwise, at the end of my presentation, we can talk more about this. Number two, any person dealing with livestock will tell you that it is very easy for you to take your herd of cattle and let them roam all over the grasslands and eating. But the smarter thing to do will be create sorts of paddocks whereby you're having your livestock eat one paddock before moving to the next. In the screen you can see on your left, you're starting with here in the top row whereby you're seeing there's a lot of livestock. So put the livestock to graze within one particular paddock. When they're done grazing there, move them to the next paddock. Why do we do this? We are doing this to allow the soil organic carbon within the first paddock to recuperate and regenerate itself, so as you're not focusing on eating all the nutrients from the soil in terms of the grasslands from one particular paddock. You're doing it in a rotational manner such that by the time you're coming to the third paddock, the first paddock has already started to recover in terms of its soil organic carbon, and of course the grass is now growing. Remember, the nutrients that are in the grass often comes from the soil. So you must make sure that the soil organic carbon is always being able to be regenerated. Should you do this, as is the case with a project in Argentina, there's also a project here in Kenya and other parts of East Africa, you're able to quantify the soil organic carbon and get carbon credits. So on one hand, you're making sure that your livestock are always going to be having a grassland that is always going to be available even when there's not too much rain. But more importantly, because you're able to quantify the regenerated or the increased soil organic carbon in the soil through rotational grazing, you're also going to be entitled towards carbon credits. So you're not only ensuring there's enough food for your animal or enough pasture for your livestock, but you're also fighting climate change, and therefore you're able to get carbon credits. So it's always about smart agriculture, just not doing things for the sake of doing things. The third one here is now what you call agroforestry. Now, agroforestry is very simple, and I'm sure for most of you have seen agroforestry, where we're simply saying you're integrating sustainable agricultural practices, that is, the integrating of trees with crops or pasture. In most cases, for example, the case of coffee farms like the ones I've seen, you'll see somebody having their own coffee farm, but also they are growing avocado trees to not only act as a shade tree for the coffee, but also for you to get the avocado fruit trees for trading. Now, what most people might not know is that you are able to quantify the amount of carbon sequestration from the shade trees, in this case, the case of avocado. There's one such project being done in South Africa involving the mixing of the cultivation of bamboo with fruit trees. The beauty of agroforestry projects that are dealing with growing fruit trees is even before you get your carbon, you're able to get the fruits that you can be selling to the market. But more importantly, those trees that are acting as shade trees are also able to provide the right kind of tree cover and whatnot for the particular crops that you are rearing in the ecosystem. So again, here you're seeing a very smart way of doing agriculture. You've got your normal crops. You're putting a fruit tree to act as not only a shade tree, but it's also going to be giving you fruits for selling. But more importantly, because it's doing carbon sequestration, you can also get carbon credits, and there are such projects being done in places not far from Nairobi, that is South Africa. Number 4 is that for those of you again who have dealt with a lot of livestock, you'll remember that, or you'll recall that in most cases, these livestock tend to blab, because as they're feeding, the ruminant stomach has got things called some kind of enzymes that result in emitting a lot of methane through the blapping. Now, there have been a lot of research being done both in Europe and also parts of East Africa, whereby certain versions or species of seaweed, particularly red seaweed, have been known to have the ability, when they've been extracted and added as a feed supplement to grasses that is being fed to the livestock, they're able to inhibit the work of those enzymes, and in return, be able to reduce the amount of methane being produced by this particular livestock. Okay, so in this case, it was found through the study that whenever the amount of methane coming from a livestock is decreasing, so is the amount of milk production coming from the dairy cattle. So in this case, you're seeing whereas you can always be giving your livestock, your dairy cattle, the usual super Napier grass, by adding this particular feed supplement, you are able to reduce the amount of methane it's emitting from blapping, but more importantly, allow the cattle now to have increased milk production. This project has been implemented in the UK. I know that there's also a similar project being developed here within Kenya by using more or less similar techniques of trying to extract nutrients from the red seed. And even that one again, because you're able to reduce the amount of methane from the livestock sector, you're also entitled to these carbon credits. I think we have all heard of biodigesters, all about biogas. I mean, why do we want to let waste go to waste? Like literally. By now you know that if you're able to trap a lot of this waste tends to emit a lot of methane. And this methane can either go to waste, that is the atmosphere, but if you're a smart farmer, you can be able to trap this methane in what you call the biodigesters, or in a typical household or domestic biogas plants, and convert that into energy that can be used for heating, lighting, or even cooking. There are quite a number of biodigester carbon projects being done all over the continent, as far west as Mali, as far south as South Africa, as far east as Kenya, and even Somalia. So livestock manure management is also a smart way of doing agriculture for those who are in the livestock sector. And sometimes you can go big, you can go small. I know some of these biodigesters can be, the pricing can be as low as about $400. Sometimes they can be in large scale and the price goes berserk. But it's something that you can also do, especially if you're somebody dealing with a lot of livestock. You can always be collecting the dung, putting it into such a digester, and of course being able to get energy from it. The key thing to note is that for those of us who are in rural parts of Africa where electricity or grid connected electricity is a challenge, then this is one way in which you can convert waste into energy that can be used for lighting, heating, or even cooking. I know most of you have been doing a lot of sustainable land management practices like intercropping, reducing tillage. All these are some of the examples of regenerative agricultural practices that can be done in the different farms you're having. For example, if today you're planting a crop that is consuming a lot of nitrogen, then you know very well that the next season you can plant a nitrogen fixing sort of a crop, for example, as an example. So, and the beauty of this is again that there's always possible for you to generate carbon credits. The way this is being done is by, again, what you're talking about, the soil organic carbon, allowing the soil to replenish the humus in it, and of course now the soil organic carbon. That is also one of the various climate smart agricultural projects. The company called Bumitra is doing such projects in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and they're also able to generate significant carbon credits that of course being given back to the same farmers. I hope most of you can remember black soldier fly, BSF. Yes. Believe it or not, you can also get carbon credits from the black soldier fly. You see, the argument here again is about the mitigation activity. In most cases, we tend to throw away waste, organic waste. And if this organic waste is left to decompose in the atmosphere, in the environment, it's resulting in the increase in the methane emissions. However, by using black soldier fly, we are saying we are going to prevent this methane from being emitted from the decomposition of organic matter. What do? Take the organic waste, put in some black soldier fly larvae, let the larvae hatch. They hatch, they eat the waste. And as they eat the waste, the probability of methane being emitted is reduced. Quantify that, get carbon credits. This one such project that has been registered with the Vera standard in Tanzania that are actually able to do this kind of mitigation activities. As you can see again, this is something that you can do either at a small scale or as a large scale. There's one other project that is not included here. However, I wanted to explain about it. It's one based in Ghana that is in rice cultivation. You will all remember that whenever you're doing rice cultivation, in most cases, you tend to flood the paddy fields. But what you don't know is that as you're flooding the paddy fields, you're creating an anaerobic ecosystem, an ecosystem within the flooded area where there's low oxygen. And in turn, certain the organic life in that flooded area is going to start decomposing, and they're going to start dying because of lack of oxygen. And as they're dying, they're going to be decomposing, releasing methane. That's why there's always some sort of a methane kind of a smell in a rice field. So what do? You do what you call alternate wetting and drying, AWD. One of the most comprehensive Article 6 carbon project done in Ghana in the areas of agriculture is the rice cultivation, where thousands of farmers have been are part of a framework between the government of Ghana and that of Switzerland, and they're able to do such a carbon project. All these are examples of carbon project. To wind up, I'll just quickly go over what I know most of you know in terms of how do you develop such interesting project. Remember, so long as you're able to do something that is either avoiding, reducing, or removing greenhouse gases in the farm, you're able to convert that into a carbon project. There are hundreds upon hundreds of different types of projects. The different standards out there that are able to help you to quantify this. I will not go through this because I know most of you by now can remember some of the lessons you have gone through. But I'll just quickly go over through a typical life cycle of a climate project. As you can remember, you start the feasibility assessment. What is actually possible within your given ecosystem? Now remember, in carbon projects, we have got what you call aggregation. For example, today, if you tell me you're trying to do an agroforestry project and only focus on, let's say, 100 trees within, let's say, 5 acres, I'll tell you, you don't have scale. But I will not tell you it's not possible. I'll tell you what you can do is find other farmers like yourselves who have got an issue with scale, and then we aggregate. Remember the voucher project I showed in India? Is a project being done by 5,000 smallholder farmers. So you come together and do it as a group project. And at the feasibility assessment stage, this is where you're able to know whether or not it's possible for you to design such a project. Once you're able to do a feasibility study and seeing what is the business as usual and what is possible and what's not possible, then you can move to what you call the project design and financing stage. By now, you know that the carbon registries with methodologies, and there's a document which will anchor your carbon projects called the project design document. That is where we're going to be explaining how your climate smart agriculture project can be converted into a carbon offset project. Develop your PDD. Once the PDD is done, you must bring in the third-party auditor to come and assess whether what you have designed in your PDD is in line with the respective carbon methodologies. All the 7 or 8 climate smart agriculture projects I've mentioned, each one of them has its own unique carbon methodology to develop it into a carbon offset project. So what the third party that comes to do is to validate that indeed you have designed your project as per the prescribed approach. If everything is found to be right, your project will proceed to the carbon registry, be it Bovera or the gold standard is going to be registered. Once it's registered, you're told, okay, now go ahead to step number 6, start implementing your project. You say you're going to be planting avocado trees, go ahead, plant your trees. You said you're going to be doing a lot of the black soldier fly farming, go ahead, keep doing that, find organic matter and reduce the methane. And as you're doing it, you are then going to come to a point in time and say, hey, maybe after 12 months or 24 months, you say, I want my carbon credits. Now, at that point in time, so long as you've been maintaining your projects, you're also going to call an auditor to come and verify that you not only implemented your project, but more importantly, you did it by the prescribed process. Now, you should be doing it at least once every 2 or 3 years for the duration of the crediting period. If you remember the definition from your previous classes, crediting period is the duration within which you're allowed to calculate or generate carbon credits. each project has its own crediting period. For example, the Black Soldier Fly project, you'll see there the crediting period is 7 years. Regenerative agriculture can go for even 20 years. Livestock management can even go for 10 years. This means the number of years you're allowed to do your project and get carbon credits issued to you. So if your project is going for 7 years and after 2 years you've done your issuance verification, you still have 5 years. So once you're issued in stage number 8, you go back again to stage number 6, and you keep repeating this until you complete the crediting period. And of course, for the people who are buying your credits, they're going to give you money, and for them, they're going to retire them once they're able to offset the emission. A typical stage will take you anywhere at least 9 or 12 months, especially for energy project, nature-based project. Those in agriculture will take at least slightly about 18 months for you between stage number 1 and stage number 5 to get the project registered. But I hope you can all remember the lesson from my previous classes. Then, of course, the question is, how much money are we looking at? Now, the price of the different carbon credits within the agricultural project depends with the level of complexity. For those into voucher, 1 voucher credit, that means 1 ton of greenhouse gases removed by a voucher, can go for anywhere between $80 and $400. The reason why voucher is fetching a higher price compared to, let's say, something like afforestation at $30 is because voucher is a removal project that is found to have more permanence compared to agroforestry project, which is also a removal, but because of the threat of being chopped down for timber business, the permanence in an agroforestry project is not as much as that one in the voucher. So the nature of the mitigation activity will, of course, influence the price of your carbon credit. That said, I want to stop there for now and maybe respond to any questions. Others, I'll share the slides, the presentation with patients, and I'm sure they'll be able to provide this to you. Others, for now, I am available for any question in the chat. Let me check if there are any question in the chat. Otherwise, back to you, patients, and I'm happy to quickly respond to any question. Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you. As always, you have, enlightened us again on some of these things. And, many of us have been talking and asking questions around carbon markets, and, climate finance. So I just like the way Charles has been able to, help us through all of this, to know that we all have spaces, we all have opportunities. Whatever you're doing, you have a space in the carbon market, going from agroforestry, biochar, and, all of, even regenerative agriculture, everything, methane emission, even to the rice cultivation that he talked about. So all of us, we all have opportunities in the carbon market, and this is really wonderful. Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you. So if you have questions, I know there will be a lot of questions, except we did not listen. So if you have questions that you'd like to ask, please raise your hand, and then we'll ask you to raise your hand, and then unmute. We'll ask you to unmute and speak. So please, if you have questions, raise your hand and ask you, or well, you can also drop it in the comment section. If you're not able to raise your hand, we'll just check from the comment section and read it out. So please, if you have any question, raise your hand and we'll ask that you unmute and speak. So I'm going to count going. All right. I'm not seeing any hand yet. Okay, some people are asking for the presentation. Yes, Charles has already said you share the presentation. So once he shares, I will also forward it to you all. All right, so okay, I'm seeing one hand already. Chidima Uyoyo, please, I'm asking you to unmute and speak. Hi, Chidima, can you hear me? If you can hear me, okay, yes, please.
I can hear you.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, please. My question, thank you for the lectures. My question, look as if I'm trying to like draw back to what we have been learning. Well, I want our lecturer to please throw more light on this carbon, because for me is a new thing for me, and I want to really understand it and on a layman understanding, because even when I'm reading and I'm trying to insinuate what it's all about, I just need a layman understanding about this carbon and how it relates. Thank you.
Okay, so the question is on the connection between carbon and agriculture. Is that correct?
Yes, and he said she's saying she wants like a layman understanding, like a basic.
Layman.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can ask the lady, is she a farmer? Maybe has she ever gone to a livestock farm? If she can come back on the call.
Okay, so Chidima, if you can hear us. Okay, yes.
Yes, I'm a farmer. I do with poultry farm. Yes.
Okay, so if you're doing it with poultry, also you can add things like cattle or even pigs. Whenever you go into the shed, of course, the door is always locked. Whenever you go into the shed, in a poultry farm, correct me if I'm wrong, but you always provide some sort of bulb, some bulb for the heating. Is that correct?
Yes, we do heating, yes.
Why do you always lock the door to the poultry shed where there's the chicken with the bulb on? Why not leave the? Why don't you switch off the bulb? Why don't you leave the door open?
Okay, so you said why do I close the door? When is it when there is cold or during the heat season?
Okay, now you can imagine the reason why, as you mentioned, you close the door and you leave the bulb on is because you want to provide a bit of heat. But should you open the door, the heat goes away. Now imagine in the planet, there are certain gases in the atmosphere that because of their existence, they tend to trap the heat as well. Now, as they're trapping the heat as well, it's causing certain undesirable climate impacts. For example, prolonged droughts and whatnot. One of the reasons that scientists came to realize is that when we are moving from the agrarian to the industrial revolution, there's a lot of mechanization of agriculture, a lot of industries. Now, depending on which part of the continent you're in, you'll remember that there's a lot of oil and gas industry business, for example. Most of Europe and some of the African economies, they're burning coal for electricity generation. As you're burning things like coal, you're doing a lot of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide emissions. If you're doing some other projects, there's a lot of methane emission. These gases are called greenhouse gases because they have the capacity to remain in the atmosphere and trap the heat from escaping. Unlike your poultry shed where you can open the door and the heat can escape, in the case of the planet, there's no door to be open. The greenhouse gases remain in the atmosphere. Now, for us to reverse that, for us to reverse global warming, we must develop a project that has the capacity to either avoid, reduce, or remove those greenhouse gases. I can use the example of a sauna. You go into a sauna, you shut the door behind you because you want the steam to heat up your body. I can use the example of a livestock shed as well. You go into a cattle shed, it's smelly, but more importantly, it's very warm. And the warmth is not necessarily because of the cattle, but the warmth is coming from the methane emanating from the cow dung. But should you do a project that is taking away the cow dung, you will notice that it's no longer a swarm in the livestock shed. So a carbon project is simply a project designed to remove, reduce, or avoid this greenhouse gas emission within the atmosphere. So should you do such a project, because you're working towards combating climate change, we're able to quantify and get what we call the carbon credits. One carbon credit has an equivalence to 1 ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, or 1 ton of greenhouse gases that have been avoided, reduced, or removed. I can use another example that I'm sure is very familiar in most of the households that you're in, whereby most houses used to use 3 stones and firewood for cooking. But all of a sudden, you're hearing that some people are selling you some high energy efficient cook stoves that will make you use less firewood or less charcoal. What is actually happening here is that before you used to, when you're using firewood and tree stone, there's this amount of greenhouse gases coming from the cooking process. But because you're now using this efficient cook stove made of ceramic or even electricity, your emissions have reduced. And because the person who gave you the cook stove was able to reduce the amount of emissions coming from your kitchen, we are able to quantify the reduced amount of greenhouse gases. And for every ton of greenhouse gases, you're getting 1 carbon credit. I hope the examples have been able to give you more light on what a carbon credit is and how you can actually generate such. So the 7 examples I gave are all agricultural related projects that allows you to either reduce or remove greenhouse gases. If you're looking at agroforestry, we are saying you're planting, you're growing a fruit tree, and as a tree is growing, you remember as a tree is growing, it must breathe in carbon dioxide. Now, as breathing in the carbon dioxide, some of the CO2 will be used for making the fruits, but the vast majority of the carbon dioxide will be stored in the tree as part of the branches, the stems, what you call above ground biomass, or in the root system, what you call below ground biomass. That is where now the carbon has been sequestered and stored, and can quantify that per tree and gets you the carbon credits. For every 1 ton of greenhouse gases removed or reduced, it's 1 carbon credit.
Thank you, sir. I really need more now. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Chidima, for asking that question, because I'm not sure it's only Chidima that's benefited from this. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charles, for breaking it down into pieces. Thank you. Kialis Gonza Wilson. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name, but I'm asking you to unmute and speak.
Hello.
Hello, yes, please go ahead.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much. I'm called Wilson. I'm calling from Uganda. I'm so thankful to the facilitator. Only that there's one thing I've not understood well about. There was a time the other weeks we looked at carbon farming, and now he's talking about carbon credit, carbon financing. How are they related, or what's the difference? Then 2, how can I, for example, someone dealing in apiculture, how can I get access into carbon farming in apiculture? Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, let me just go back to my presentation. Number 1, the first thing is carbon farming, carbon offsets, carbon credits, it's all interrelated. Now, in principle, when you're looking at the case of developing a carbon offset project, let me just go there. It's a 7-stage process that starts with the feasibility studies. Remember, you must be able to quantify what is that which you're trying to solve. What is the mitigation activity? So for you as a farmer, the question is, what is it that you're doing in your farm, or you're willing to do in your farm differently to reduce or remove the greenhouse gases? I gave the example of a project we are doing with a partner called Mandulis Energy in northern Uganda. It's a project, part of what we call the Uganda Climate Smart Jobs, implemented by the UK FCDO with the partner Palladium. What you're doing are 2 things. The first one is agroforestry, where I've gone to coffee farmers, and I'm saying now the coffee farmers, because the coffee farmers want to put shade trees for the coffee, they can have the shade trees be fruit trees, for example, avocado, such that as the avocado tree is growing, it's not only providing shade for the coffee, but also it's providing the avocado fruit for selling. But the real game changer is the fact that the avocado tree, as it's growing, it's able to sequester carbon dioxide, like the way I've explained earlier, and the carbon dioxide can be quantified, and you find the amount of carbon dioxide trapped in terms of tonnage. We then convert that into carbon credits through this particular lengthy process of number 1 to 9, using, of course, certain methodologies. And of course, once the carbon credits have been quantified, they're issued to your account. Now, remember, I mentioned registries, like I'm showing here. There are quite a number of carbon registries in Africa. There's Gold Standard, there's Plan Niveau, there's Vera. These are the people to whom you need to open an account with, and then the credits will be anchored there. Think of it like a bank system, but the difference is it's not money, it's numbers showing the amount of mitigation you have done. Now, once you've been able to do that, you must look for people who are going to buy. How much are they buying this? That's why I gave this different project, different pricing. Depending on the kind of project you're doing, 1 ton of carbon credits generated from agriculture can fetch about $20. So let's say you do a project. Let me give the example of, let's say, the one I was showing here on the screen. Let's say this project in South Africa. It's an agroforest project that is able to remove 349,000 tons of greenhouse gases. That is simply saying it has been able to generate 349,000 carbon credits per year. And in the market, it's saying for every 1 ton of carbon of greenhouse gases removed in an agroforest project, it's $20. You will then look for a buyer. In most cases, you put the likes of Microsoft, Netflix, Google, and so many other people who look for these projects in the global south. So for every carbon credit, they give you $20. So in the case of this particular project in South Africa, if they're to sell their credits for every 1 ton of greenhouse gases, they're getting $20. So you take 349, multiply by 20, you get your numbers. When you're now converting the carbon credits into actual dollars, we are now talking of carbon finance. So the carbon farming can be taken to be the carbon offset project, in this case, agroforestry. The carbon credit is when now you're moving from tons of greenhouse gases into the equivalent and now selling it. Because when you're selling these greenhouse gases, it's like you're not selling air, but you're selling the commodity. Now, when you're selling the commodity, we call it the credits, because the person buying it is going to go back to their country and say, hey, we have bought 1 million carbon credits, which simply means we have been able to get permission to offset the 1 million tons of greenhouse gases we emitted here in Germany or here in the US. That's the credit component. And that whole transaction is carbon finance. So it is not entirely the same, but they're really interrelated in terms of the definition. One is a byproduct of the next, and one is a consequence of the interaction. So when you're doing the agroforestry project, we call it carbon farming, or if you like, the carbon offset project. When you're now selling, you're not selling carbon offsets, because the offset is a project. You're now selling the credits to, let's say, Netflix, and that now becomes carbon financing, because now you're not dealing with the greenhouse gas, but now you're dealing in dollars, which is the unit of exchange. I hope that one, is it Wilson? That one is clear.
I would request you share with us those slides.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I will do that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy, and thank you so much, Charles. So there are some questions in the comment section. Let me just read one of them before we go back. So someone is saying, this person has to be from Uganda. It's Robert Akena. He said, how can smallholder farmers and ecosystem actors benefit from the carbon projects you are currently designing in northern Uganda?
Okay, so if you're part of from northern Uganda, and maybe you know a company called Adagani or Nile Forestry, those are the companies you're dealing with. So you have to be part of their ecosystem to be part of now that particular project. Yes, I don't know if they're familiar to you, but those are the companies that we are currently dealing with. There's Adagani. I hope the Ugandans will forgive my pronunciation. There's Adagani. There's West Nile Forestry, and there's, yes, those are the two companies you're currently dealing with, yeah, in northern Uganda. So if you're part of that ecosystem of theirs, that's where you can, because for each of the companies, they've got thousands of farmers who are part of that ecosystem, yeah. And or alternatively, if you've ever heard of a company called Mandulis Energy, they're also part of the North, that is Newer district. That's where they do most of the operation. They're also part of that program as well.
All right, thank you so much. So there's another hand raised, Kalipa Pelokazi. Please, I'm asking you to unmute and speak.
Thank you very much, Patience. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I think you've partly answered the question I wanted to ask because, or mostly answered it, in fact, because I wanted to ask, how do you then quantify the mitigation and adoption strategies? However, perhaps the subsequent question would be, are you able to then collect the data yourself? And also the methodologies you mentioned, are you able to apply these yourself in the sense of small scale farmers? And also with the relevant bodies, the registration bodies, is there membership? In fact, you did mention membership is required. Is there, does one need to pay for that in order to be a member of these bodies? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, very good question. So allow me to go back to sharing my screen. And since this thing is being recorded, you can always just do a follow-up. So I mentioned that one of the carbon registries, a registry is the people who provide these guidelines, is called Verra. So I hope you can see the website is Verra, VERRA.org. Now, when you go to the website, there are different things you can do. So the first one is you can go to what you call now the Verra registry, that is registry.verra. Here, you're able to see all the projects globally. So for example, Madam, could you tell me which country you came from? For example, which country? The one who asked the question.
I think she has dropped her hand, but looks like that name is from South Africa. Please raise your hand
South
again.
Africa.
Let's be sure. Yes.
So let's go in South Africa. So when you go to registry.verra.org, you can come and find out all the projects in the voluntary carbon market in Verra. Click there, search. It will give you, let's just keep on searching. It will give you all the like 91 projects in carbon projects in South Africa, because we can tell whatever. But now let's say you want to filter it by type. You come here to project type. Let's say it's agroforestry. The interest was in agroforestry. Click agriculture, forestry. Click search. You'll be able to see all the projects. Just know that you can be able to see all the projects. There's one called KwaZulu-Natal, Sustainable Landscape, another called Karoo, and so forth. But then the question is, can you do it by yourself? The answer is yes. You need to do two things. You need to come here and click open accounts. Yeah, you can see it says open account. When you click open account, it will tell you the terms and conditions of what you need to do, the kind of account you need to open. For our case, we have an account. So that's the first thing. Will it cost you? Yes. In the case of Verra, to open an account, you need $750. In the case of the gold standard, you need about $1,000 to open the account. Second question, about the so-called methodologies. Very good question. Again, in the case of Verra, you can also go back to the main website and then you click resources. When you click resources, you press and go to what you call the VCS methodologies. Okay? Now, remember I mentioned there are scientific formulas for you to use to quantify. Can you do it by yourself? It comes down to your ability to comprehend these methodologies. In the case of agroforestry, I know from the top of my mind that the methodology is called VM0048 and VM0047. So you can either search by the sectoral scope. In this case, I've got several methodologies here, and because I know agroforestry is VM47, then I click here, VM047. I click there. When you click, it will open the page. Now you ask, can you do it by yourself? Yes, again, depending on your technical skills, you click there, download. It will open. It's about an 80-page document explaining to you how exactly do you go about quantifying the project boundary, the baseline scenario, the quantification process, etc., etc. It's very detailed. If you want to do livestock methane, you want to do livestock manure, each intervention has a unique methodology that you need to use to develop and be quantified. In the case of trees, I'll just tell you it's very simple. You literally take a tape measure, you measure the width of the stem and the height. Then depending on the species and the age, there's a data table from IPCC that I can then use to quantify this mango tree of 3 years, measuring this height and this width. What is the amount of sequestration per annum? You use what you call the allometric equations, you calculate, and you can get it. So in the case of agroforestry, if you go to Vera and download that particular methodology, VM 0047, it will tell you all the steps of how to do it. So you can do it by yourself, you can open your own account, or you can require the services of an advisory company like ourselves to help you develop the project. But it's purely scientific, and it's very possible for us to measure what you call now the mitigation activity, or if you like, the emissions reduction that you've been able to achieve in your project. I hope that one is clear to her and to everybody else. Yeah, that was Caliper, yes. So you can always see projects being done in your country. You can see the methodologies. You can open your own account. It all just comes down to your ability to just read, understand, and I think that's why AFC is organizing this BREST project, to give you the technical capacity to do things by yourself. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's very clear. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Charles. So I have one last hand raised, Lavender Ochieng. Please, I'm asking you to unmute and speak.
Okay, thank you so much, the entire team, organizer and the presenter.
Hi, Ochieng. If you are speaking, we can barely hear you.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, it's better now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm saying thank you so much, the organizer, Patience, and Mr. Charles, for this presentation. This is really insightful and very enlightening. Personally, I've learned a lot. And I'm going through the chat section and seeing some question, and I want to tie it. I'm seeing someone asking if I have avocado tree, or I've planted 10 acres of avocado, how much can I be paid? Another person is going for oil palm. So I want to just tie these two questions and bring in mine. And I'm like, Charles, you're really well versed with this topic. Are there the tree species that you really advocate for people in agriculture, especially those practicing agroforestry, to adopt or to plant, which will really translate to better finance or better credits that we can get from the project? Yeah, I think that's it. And also, Charles, may you share with me the slides? Thank you.
Good. Okay, so now that is a very interesting question, and you not like the answer. The first answer is this: the requirements of the carbon registries is that you should, one, have a clearly defined mitigation activity, but more importantly, you should focus on what is common in the area. So, for example, we know that things like eucalyptus are quite good. Pine and cypress, they go very fast. But the question is pine and cypress as a tree common in the area? Is it going to be an invasive species in the area trying to introduce it? So there are certain biodiversity safeguards that have been put to prevent bad practice. So you have to make sure, one, the species is not invasive and whatnot. You mentioned avocado. So I know this from different studies recently done, is that if you're looking at avocado tree, if it's very young, 1 to 3 years, it's able to sequester anything between 5 and 10 kilograms per tree per year at that particular age, because of the way in which you can calculate. However, if you're looking at one that is mature meaning from year 5, 6, all the way to even 20, you're looking at anywhere between 50 and 100 kilograms of CO2 sequestration per annum. So you just take that number, multiplied by the number of trees you have per given acre, and that's it. From the studies we have done or the design we have been doing, we're looking at, usually if you're looking at 1 hectare, about 200 trees in the case of avocado. Then of course you can easily compute and see how many credits are you getting from that. So Assuming you take an average of 75 kilograms of sequestration per tree, if there are 200 of them per hectare, then you're looking at about 15 tons, or if you like, 15 credits per hectare. Now, the number is very small. That's why I told you scale is important. Now, what is the minimum size in terms of hectares if you're looking at doing afforestation? In the case of Vera, they'll say, for you to really have something reasonable, consider about 1,000 hectares. So if you're looking at the case of avocado, you're doing 1,000 hectares as a minimum. Per hectare, you're getting 15 credits. So that means 15,000 credits from 1,000 hectares of avocado. Assuming you sell one credit at $20, then that is about 300,000 USD. But of course, there are going to be costs for that you have to factor in. So minimum, I'll say usually, if you're doing afforestation, at 1,000 hectares, if you don't have it by yourself, of course, you do what you call now is the aggregation. So different tree species will give you different different sequestration potential. So you just have to look at which tree are you looking at, and of course, then you do your mitigation.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you. So there are questions in the comment section, but it looks like you have answered some of those questions with the Vera analogy. So someone is asking, what is the procedure for registering for climate financing? Another person asked that, which one is cheaper than Vera?
Vera is the cheapest. Vera is the cheapest. The other one is a bit more expensive. And remember, in the cycle of activity, I mentioned about the third-party auditor. The auditors are also not very cheap. That's what I've said. It's always good to aggregate, to have a huge project so you can have what you call the economies of scale. Climate financing, in every country, there's what we call GCF. Every country, just let's say if you're from Malawi, go to Google, just type GCF Malawi. If you're from Ghana, type GCF Ghana. You'll see within every country, there's a GCF office, there's a process in which you can apply to get climate financing. However, I'll tell you, it's a process. It's a process.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. So Gambo Garuba, I think that's the last question we're taking for today. Please unmute and speak, Gambo Garuba.
Okay. Hello, sir.
Yes,
Hello?
please go ahead. Can hear you.
Please, I have a confusion on the differences between this mitigation and adaptation. Please, can you give me more clarification on the differences between mitigation and adaptation? Because a few days back, I was making a presentation. In fact, I have a lot of challenges on. It's somehow, similar, so I find it difficult to more have the differences.
Good. So the difference is this. I'll give an example of an incoming car. A car, you're walking in the middle of the road, and there's a car oncoming. One simple option is to give way to the car. The other option is to try and fly on top of the car, for example. Mitigation is about you are seeing an oncoming danger, oncoming problem, and deploying mechanisms to avoid that consequence. In the case of climate change, by way of greenhouse gases, we are saying we are developing projects that are looking towards reducing or removing greenhouse gases so as over time we can prevent or reduce the chances of global warming continuing to become more terrible. That is mitigation. You are trying to manage the risks. Adaptation is the danger came, the danger occurred, there's nothing you can do about it. Now, you have to find ways of living with the danger. So, for example, in parts of the world, we have cases whereby it's always prone to flooding. So, there's nothing they can do about it. They try to do all these things, but it kept on flooding, pushing everything away. So, what they have to do now is to find ways in which they can live with the flood. For example, we know that there are some cities that are in flooded areas, so they build houses with structures whereby the floodings go into the water so the house can be above the water. They are unable to mitigate the flooding, so they've adapted to living with the flood. So adaptation is living with the consequence of climate change. Mitigation is developing mechanisms to avoid the consequences of climate change. Adaptation is you're just living with the problem, adjusting to the problem. Mitigation is you're trying to prevent the consequences of that problem that is coming. I hope, Gambo, that is clear.
Very clear, sir. Seriously, it's understood. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Charles. Thank you so much. So there's this question here. I think it's coming up for the second time. This person is saying, during the making, Monica, she said, during the making of voucher, how can you prevent gas from escaping to the atmosphere?
Now, when you're doing voucher, there are two techniques. What you call the pyrolysis technique, or what you call gasification. I'll give the example of the company called Mandulis Energy in northern Uganda. And those who are in northern Uganda, Pamnolango, Nyua districts, please go and have a look at the project they're doing in Baucha. Some of the processes of using technology to generate voucher results in what we call the generation of synthetic gas. Depending on the technique you're using, you're able to trap the gas using certain machine apparatuses, and the gas which is synthetic can be used for other uses. Sometimes it can be used as jet fuel, sometimes it can be used for further generation of electricity in the case of this project. If you're unable to trap the gas and it goes to the atmosphere, and you're doing a voucher carbon project, you're supposed to be able to quantify based on the amount of feedstock you're supplying and what you're able to capture from escaping. If it's not being able to be captured, then we have to subtract. Remember, when you're dealing with carbon credits, the formula for carbon credits, emissions reduction is equals to baseline emission minus project emission minus leakage emission. I've put the formula in the chart. ER is emissions reduction. You're going to take a baseline emission. What was the initial amount of greenhouse gases before you are collecting the agricultural waste? We're able to quantify that. Project emission is the amount of emissions occurring because of a mitigation activity. Yes, you're trying to do voucher generation, but there's still the gas is escaping at your put. So we have to quantify that. And then there's a leakage emission. By computing this, you're able to make sure that you're only getting carbon credit based on what you've been able to mitigate. So if you're able to capture that gas from escaping during the voucher process, there's certain specialized machines that can do it, and there's some other low technology that are not able to capture. So if you're not able to capture, we have to quantify that, and then of course we have to put it into the deduction. If you want to learn more on how do you do a voucher carbon project, you can go to the Verra website, and I put in the methodology. It's called VM0044. Sorry, VM0044. It's a methodology for voucher application in soil and non-soil application. If you just go to Verra, or you go to Google, type Verra VM0044 voucher, it will give you the methodology. It will tell you how do you account for the gases that are escaping. It's again, I insist, it's very scientific process that you must be able to calculate this. The beauty is that most of these methodologies, you'll find the carbon registry like Verra or Gold Standard, they did a webinar to explain the methodology. It's usually 1 hour explanation. So again, as I said, if you've got the ability to really interact with these documents and you love the science behind it, you can do it by yourself if it's possible. But yes, so the question, what does ER? ER means emissions reduction is equals to baseline emission, I'm typing, minus project emissions minus leakage emissions. That was the formula is giving. ER is equals to baseline emission, subtract project emission, subtract leakage emission. That is a standard formula. So how to calculate baseline emission? Depending on what you're doing, the methodology will tell you this is how you calculate baseline emission for voucher. This is how you calculate baseline emission for livestock, the bound adjusters, for example. Yeah. So as I said, there are like 170 different types of carbon project, and for each one of them, there's a methodology. There's a booklet somewhere that you can read and be able to quantify all of this. And most of them, of course, all the 7 or 8 examples I gave in agriculture, there's a methodology and there's a way for you to compute it as well.
Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you so much for all of that explanation. Like, this is really great. Thank you so much. So this is my error. I ought to have shared this since, but before now. So one of the BRACE participants listened to you last year, and then from Malawi, and he said after listening to you, decided to start a project on the black soldier fly, and we went to Malawi this year and he invited us to his space. Really, I started something on black soldier fly, and he's really doing well. Really amazing how he heard you speak and he decided to, start a project on that. And really, it's really, really encouraging. And I just wanted to know that you are really, really impacting our participants, and we are really grateful for this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Charles. And for those of you talking about your network, we are streaming this live, so you can always access this on our YouTube page after now. Thank you so much. So like we always do, let's quickly take our photograph with Charles before he will leave us. And then let's say a lot of thank yous coming from the comment section and even emojis saying thank you so much, Charles. We appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you. So let's put on our videos and take photos with Charles, so that when you see Charles in Kenya one of these days, you're quick to let him know that he actually spoke in a session that you participated in. Thank you so much, everyone, for putting on their videos, and I'm sure my colleagues are taking the photos already. Thank you, everyone, with the beautiful smiles. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Charles. Thanks for, always impacting us, always coming to, encourage us, and in ways that is unexplainable until we start, manifesting all of the things that we're learning here. Thank you so much, Charles. We're grateful, and we hope that when we invite you again, you come as you always do. We do not take it for granted. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you. Okay, so I'll quickly share my screen again, everyone, so that we'll announce the top scholars for week 4. I know that most of you joined this session because you wanted to see the top scholars for the week, because the way I saw some people in the waiting room, like people that have not joined in a while, or people that, I'm like, oh, the top scholars are just 15 minutes before time, they're already in the waiting room. Don't worry. So I'll share my screen again and quickly announce the top scholars for this week. Okay. So for this week, we have the top scholars. I'm not sure. Okay. So for the week, oh, this is not sharing well. Sorry, everyone. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. So for this week, the top scholars, we have Annette Muba from Uganda. We have Adegoke Oluwatobi from Nigeria. Precious Olafioye from Nigeria. We have Oya Anthony from Uganda. Munil Aliru Adam from Nigeria. We have Monica Okoye from Nigeria. Richmond Kaba from Sierra Leone. We have Yede F. Noah from Nigeria. Anna Austin from Nigeria. John Paul Olisa Emeka from Nigeria. Mark Mogomotsi Morodi from South Africa. and then we see Ndelima from Malawi. So congratulations to everyone that have come top scholars for week 4. Congratulations. This week we have just some few numbers that came out top scholars. We hope to see more people come out top scholars next week. We have only 12 top scholars for week 4. Next week we hope to see many more come out as top scholars, and really thank you so much for your consistency, your dedication, and your hard work. Because if it is not hard work, you will not be able to make it to top scholars. You would have gotten all of this scores in the portal, and then LIS, if you do not participate, you won't be able to make it to the top scholars level, right? So congratulations to everyone that came top scholars this week. We're going to be sharing this in the WhatsApp group. We're also going to be posting it on our social media pages and all that. So when you see it, please like, comment, share with loved ones. And for all of the top scholars, we hope that you share it on your social media page and tell the world that you are a top scholar. Congratulations, everyone. So quickly, I will share. Okay, I'll stop sharing so that I can put up this poll for the week. So I stop sharing and we can now put a poll. So please, if you can see the poll, kindly go ahead and help us fill these questions and all that. It helps us to be able to plan better and make the live interactive session really better for every participant. So if you do not fill the poll, we don't understand, we don't know what it is that you want us to improve on. So if you fill the poll, we're able to know where you actually need us to improve and work on that. So thank you very much for everyone that's filling already. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. So quickly, if you have questions on the portal or the modules and all that, this is the opportunity to ask your questions. So please, I'll allow you to unmute if you raise your hand. So please raise your hand and then we'll ask you to unmute and quickly ask your questions, so that will take the remaining 10 minutes to be able to answer all the questions you have from the portal. Remember that next week, Friday, will be the last live interactive session for this batch. And after that time, we'll not be having live sessions anymore. And so if you have questions, it is better to ask your questions now so that we're able to quickly address them. And then after the last live interactive session next week, we're going to be having a Show Your Certificate campaign, which will happen in our WhatsApp group. So for our WhatsApp group, we noticed that some people are already complaining that they were not able to join because we have more number of participants this time around. So we're going to transform it into a community so that more people can join the community, and we'll all be able to express ourselves and engage within the WhatsApp group. So someone is already raising their hand. Miriam Akora, please go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you so much, Patience. I think part of the question that I wanted to ask is already answered. It was about joining the WhatsApp group because I've failed to join. And also, that's where I thought I would get access to some help. I've tried to write emails, but I've not been responded to. I was requesting that I be helped to log in so that I can do my assignments. Thank you.
Oh, so sorry about not responding to your email. So there are really plenty emails. We try to attend to all of them, but sorry that we have not been able to attend to yours. And I don't know, maybe I should just drop my email address. Okay, I'll send my email address personally to you so that you can just send it to me personally. Let me understand what help you need on the portal. Since you said you're not in the WhatsApp group yet, it means you may not be able to have access to my number since you're not in the WhatsApp group yet. But I'll share my email address with you in the comment section now so that you're able to send the email directly to me. And for the WhatsApp, yes, we're going to transform it into a community and share the link again to everyone via email, so that for those that have not joined the WhatsApp group yet, we can all join, especially as we are building up to the Show Your Certificates campaign that we'll be doing next week. I'm really very excited about it because it needs to be very interesting, right? And I would like that everyone participates in that campaign, right? So thank you so much, Miriam. I'll share my email address with you now. So are there other questions? Thank you for everyone filling the poll. If you still haven't filled the poll yet, it's still up. Please help us fill the poll. Okay. Are there other questions? Looking for gaps. Okay, it means that everyone here is clear with the portal, and that's really good. Thank you so much for making the work very easy for me and for all of us. All right, thank you so much. So Miriam, I have sent the email address to you. Thank you everyone for participating in this week live interactive session. Thank you so much for always joining. So we're going to be sharing a new link for the WhatsApp community with everyone. So please, if you see the link, click on it and join the WhatsApp community so that we can all continue the engagement from there. And again, the last live interactive session is going to be holding next week, Friday. Plan to attend the last one. It's going to be really interesting. You do not want to miss it. Do not want to miss. Oh, someone is saying I should please attend to the question. Please, I have a question. Oh, please raise your hand so that I'll ask you to unmute and ask your question. Austin Anachibo, please, where are you? Raise your hand so that I'll ask you to unmute and speak. And then please attend to my question from Adewale Bonachika. Please, what was your question? I'm not sure I saw the question. If you can raise up your hand, or if you, okay. Please, Madam Patience, Madam Patience, I have been having issues getting the modules after filling the diagnostic. Please assist so I can do and have my certificate. Okay, so Gona, if you're in the WhatsApp group, please reach out to me or any of the admins in the WhatsApp group so that we can help you with what issues you are having accessing the modules, and you'll be able to take the learnings or the courses, right? So if you're in the WhatsApp group, please reach out to me. If you're not in the WhatsApp, please send an email to the Brace email. I'll check it now. After this call, I'll go back to the Brace email and check all the emails and all of that, so that that have come in, so that if there's anything like that, I'll quickly address it or even send my number to you so that you can reach out to me. But if you're in the WhatsApp group, it makes it very easy. Just look out for my number. Pat Brimo is my name on WhatsApp, or any of the other admins will be very happy to help you through it. James Paul, please go ahead. Someone is asking for attendance. Like we always announce, or we have always announced, Zoom automatically take attendance, and so you do not need to write any attendance. All you need to do is to just come on WhatsApp and use your real name, the name that you use for the program. Use your real name. For example, who was that? Adewale HP. No, it's not HP. You should use your name. Rename your device to your real name so that we know that this is Adewale that attends the session, not HP, because we don't have HP in the Brace program. What we have is Adewale, right? So you don't have to take any attendance. Just join and Zoom will automatically take your attendance. I hope that's clear. Which I'm not sure there's any other question. I'm trying to answer all our questions, so I don't end the call without attending to all questions. I have a question. If you have a question, please just ask it. We have only 2 minutes to end the call. So if you have a question, either you raise your hand or just type it in the comment section and I would attend to it. He said, but I have been attending with renaming my device. How is it going to count? Yes, if you have been renaming your device, Emmanuel Umaru, yes. So it means we have your attendance, right? Thank you very much. And Ogenovo Good Moses, please, you said you have a question. I have not seen the question yet. So please, James Paul, please go ahead. I'm asking you to unmute.
All right, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Yes, so for today's session, I really had challenge with my network. So I'll be requesting if an opportunity will be given, maybe if the link can be shared on the WhatsApp platform for some of us that had challenge with network, and also maybe have to get to know, what actually happened for today's session. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So James, for all the sessions we have had from week 1 to week 4, we have always shared the link to the YouTube live stream. So if you check your email right now, for when we were sending you invitation for week 5, we sent the link to our YouTube recording for week 4 so that you are able to have access to it. And that's actually how we do it every week. So after this session, when we are sending you the next invite, we're going to be sending you the link for this session so that you're able to access the session. And it's always on our YouTube page. If you go on African Food Changemakers on YouTube, just check there, and then you see all the live interactive sessions. They are always there, but we'll always send you the link via email after now. Thank you so much. So someone is asking, after the next live interactive session, what next? What next is that you have to finish your courses in the portal and download your certificates. And also, we also have the technical phase, which is like the study visits for some countries where we have populations and all of that. So your country may be listed for the next study visit, and please plan, and we'll always get back to you. And if your country is listed for the study visit, we'll always send you an email so that you're able to participate in it. And then someone is asking, please, ma, after the BRACE program certificate, what is the essence and usefulness of the certificate? So you decide how you want to use the certificate, right? So for every participant of the BRACE program, every alumni, people that have come into the program and all that, so many people have used the BRACE program certificate for different things. So you decide how you want to use the certificate, just like how you use your certificate for your maybe your short courses, what you use your certificate for and all of that. So we would not be deciding for you what you want to use your certificate for. But I tell you that this BRACE certificate is actually very useful because people have used it and all that from just participating in the BRACE program and getting the certificate. So you decide how you want to use it, right? So I have attempted the assessment twice and keep scoring 50, only even when I got the 6 questions right. Why? How are you sure that you got the 6 questions right? So we are not the one marking the questions. It's actually imputed. I have explained this before, that the trainers themselves impute, set their questions and then put in their answer. What we just do is to collect the questions and the answers from them and then put it in the system. So the system actually grades you according to what the trainer said the answer is. So this is not us grading or doing it manually. This is automatic with the system, and so you're not sure that you got the 6 questions correctly. Can I guess the link for today's LIS? I have said this countless times that yes, it's on YouTube and we'll be sharing the link. Like the Nigerian, is it possible for all the participants to embark on the study visit after the program? So for Nigerians who have been having, in fact, Nigerians have enjoyed the study visit much more than any other country on this call and all of that. So for Nigerians, we have regions. So because Nigeria, the population in Nigeria is actually more, in the BRACE program, we actually do it region by region for Nigerians. We don't just put everybody, because it's even the study visit location, we not even size the population, right? So thank you so much, everyone. It's already 2 minutes past 5 o'clock GMT +1. So please, thank you for attending the live interactive session today. If you have other questions, you can send us an email. And I'm sorry for the person that did not get response to our email. That must be an oversight. We always respond to all our emails. And where is the WhatsApp link? It has not been set up. Once it's set up, we'll send it to you. The community link, we're going to be sending it to you all. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in today's live interactive session. I'm very sure that for me, this is like one of the most exciting and inspiring live interactive sessions I have had this batch. I don't know about you. So tell us about you in the WhatsApp group later. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And till we see you again, or till we come to this space again next week, Friday, do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the live interactive session. It is not taken for granted, like I always say. Bye, everyone.